Yesterday, we received lots of messages about the Chancellor's plans to scrap the winter fuel payment for most pensioners in England and Wales, with many of you very angry about the decision, although some saying it looks like it could be a necessary saving.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that now because Rachel Reeves has been defending the move, saying she needs to repair what she calls a black hole in public finances. So our cost of living correspondent, Coletta Smith, has been speaking to some of those who will lose out in Birmingham.
Knowing your next step is crucial for everyone here. But these dancers now have to change their plans. As of this week, most of them will no longer be getting a winter fuel payment.
I understand cuts have to be made, but it was a bit of a shock.
The old people that couldn't afford to put the heating on last year with the allowance, how are they going to get on this year? I think it's disgraceful.
I think I would be sort of switching off in some of the rooms to sort of help budget for it, really.
Did it help last winter, do you think?
Big help, yes. It, it just gave you a confidence to get on.
How do you feel then about going into...
Spend it on Christmas presents like a lot of people do, or go out for a meal. It was left in the account to help pay the bill.
The government have defended their decision, saying they've been forced to make cuts to cover gaps in the public finances they weren't expecting. But for Vadney, those payments have been a lifeline to help her cover gas and electricity through the winter.
It does make a difference. Yeah, because my gas bill was high and the extra that they paid was really good. I wish they hadn't done it. And so quickly. When I asked for benefits, I was told no, because you've got 30 pence over the poverty line.
A key qualifying benefit, pension credit, is one of the most underclaimed benefits. Nearly 1 million people who could get help currently don't, either not realising or reluctant to rely on the state.
The hoops is so much to go through that I've never asked for pension credit.
But without that benefit, Vadney and everyone else in the same boat will lose the winter fuel payment this year. Age UK say they're already receiving calls from people who are worried.
1 million older people live just above the poverty line, and a winter payment of £200 to £300 makes an enormous difference in their lives. Many people have spent into their savings as a result of this very tough few years that we've all had.
No matter how warm the weather feels today, it's going to be a very different picture in 4 or 5 months when those winter fuel payments were due. But it's not too late. If you're a pensioner on a low income, it's worth checking whether you qualify for any extra benefit help, because that means that you would still get the winter fuel payment this year as well. Although energy bills have dropped over the summer, they will be going up again in the autumn. So millions of pensioners will need to learn some new financial footwork, navigating the hurdle of the expensive winter months with no extra help. Coletta Smith, BBC News in Birmingham.
Let's get some political reaction, shall we? Sarah Olney is Liberal Democrat MP for Richmond Park, joining us now from Westminster. Hi there, good morning to you. Thanks for talking to Breakfast. Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, then saying she's got no choice because of the financial situation than to get rid of these winter fuel payments. What do you make of her decision?
Well, there's no doubt that the new government have inherited a very grave economic situation. We've had years of Conservative economic mismanagement, and many people find themselves in a situation where their living standards have actually declined over the course of the last Parliament. So there is no doubt that urgent action does need to be taken. I was interested listening to your package there, and I think it does bear repeating what your reporter said at the end there. There are, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people potentially who could be claiming pension credit who aren't, and that would secure their right to continue to receive the winter fuel allowance. So it's really important that people hear that message. But, it's coming through loud and clear to MPs that people are really, really concerned about withdrawing this benefit. And certainly what the Liberal Democrats would be saying is, to ask the Chancellor to look at ways of perhaps providing a little bit of extra support, because there will be people who aren't eligible for pension credit who will nevertheless find it a really big struggle without that extra help this winter.
We have heard from some of our viewers this morning, though, pensioners who say, look, I don't need this help. I can afford to go without it. It's not right that I receive it at a time when the economy is struggling, and they say, maybe means testing is the way forward, so only the poorer pensioners receive this benefit. What do you say to them?
I've heard that quite a lot from various people, and I think it's such a difficult thing because obviously, as I say, the economy has been so poorly managed. The new government coming in have got some really tough decisions to make, and so this is obviously one choice that they've made. But means testing, which is effectively what this is, can be so difficult, and something like people claiming pension credit can be such a blunt instrument. As I say, there will be thousands of people who aren't eligible for pension credit who are nevertheless going to struggle this winter. We've seen, really enormous fuel bills over the last few years, and it won't be quite so bad this winter, but we expect them to still be very high. And the Tories' economic mismanagement of the last few years has really put so many households under a great deal of financial pressure, not just pensioners, but working families as well. But obviously, we're in a very difficult situation.
Rachel Reeves is saying, now she's in office, she's been able to go through all the paperwork, all the documents properly, and she says things are much worse than she realised. The Conservatives say that's not true, that all the figures were out there and she's playing political games. What do you think? Is she right? Is she right to say she's shocked, or is she making excuses?
I think there's a bit of, misdirection on both sides here, and frankly, I don't think most people care whether the situation is bad or really bad. What matters is what are we going to do about it. Now, the Liberal Democrats in our manifesto, we've been really clear. We want to see fixing the health service to be front and centre of priorities in this new government, because we think getting that waiting list down, getting people back into work can have a real boost, not just to people's own sense of well-being, but also to the economy overall, and to really start to see that growth that we all know is so essential to getting the country back onto its feet. But also, we've talked in our manifesto about a range of revenue raisers that mean you don't have to impact hard-working people or households. We want to see things like reversing cuts to the bank taxes. We want to see a proper windfall tax on oil and gas giants. We want to see a digital services tax on the social media companies. So there are things that the government can do, but I think this back and forth between Tories and Labour about whether it's, how bad it is really not helpful.
Would you not cut anything then in public services? Is that what you're saying?
No, I think what we're saying is that there is undoubtedly lots of places where efficiencies can be made in the National Health Service, but some of that will require investment in order to realise. We know, for example, our crumbling hospitals, so much inefficiency within the health service simply because so many of the buildings are not up to scratch. And we also know that the Conservative government's promise to build 40 new hospitals was not ever actually deliverable. So what we really want to see the government do now is to talk about what investments it can make, what changes it can make in the National Health Service to really start delivering for patients.
Sarah Olney, Lib Dem MP, thank you for joining us here on Breakfast.